Tribal Health and Human Services Department of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai Tribes is proud to present Good Medicine, a program dedicated to the wellness of the Flathead Nation. The mission is summarized quite simply: a healthier people, a stronger nation. We will strive to make Good Medicine a reliable source of ideas and information about health issues so that everyone can make informed decisions about their own lifestyle and health care. You will meet health professionals, tribal government and spiritual leaders, and interesting people from the tribal community discussing important health issues that profoundly affect us all.
Hi, this is Good Medicine. I'm your host, Larry Pitts. Today we have a very distinguished person. It's Dr. Garry Pitts. So hard for me to say doctor, but that is 2 R's, 2 T's in his name, and he's my brother. He is the acting chief dental officer for Tribal Health and Human Services. And Garry, anybody you want to say hello to?
Hi, Mom.
Hello, Mom, too.
And my daughter, Samantha.
All right. Garry, I want to thank you for coming on at the last minute. For people who don't know, Gary's pickup is sitting down by Allentown. If you want to roll it tonight, it's okay, unless we get there ahead of time. And Garry has just taken over the acting directorship of the dental programs for the tribe. Garry, you want to tell us what's happening in tribal health as far as the dental programs right now?
Well, presently, as many people are aware, Dr. Williams will be leaving. In fact, Friday will be his last day. Prior to or subsequent to his decision to accept a position at Fort Peck, he'll be interestingly headed back to where I started my career, 4.5 glorious years up in Poplar. We decided that rather than having a stark ending point for him and the program, that we would build in some time for myself to kind of become accustomed to some of the reporting requirements and things that he'd been responsible for. So we've been working, and the staff and I have been working together. Dr. Zlock has been helping a lot with our reporting requirements and stuff like that, so that we have continuity, as opposed to him just leaving and then trying to fill the position after him.
That dead space.
The old dead space, that's right. So it's been a real team effort in preparation, and we've got our schedule, so we won't be disrupting services too much, but it's going to be a big hole to fill. You know, he's provided us with a tremendous amount of experience and a knowledge base of a wide range of services that we're very fortunate to have received from him here at Flathead. So we'll be kind of gearing up for that loss, and then trying to see what how we fill in those areas.
Okay. You know, in my travels all over the reservation, as we know, I travel a lot. I noticed we do have the clinic there in St. Ignatius. We have one now here in Pablo, which is at the college, and one in Polson. Is the one in the college here in Pablo, is it related to the other 2 programs?
Right, it is. We're very fortunate. The tribe, in its infinite wisdom, once again, very progressive. Was very supportive of an idea that we had about 3 years ago when I first got back home, of meeting the needs, unmet needs of a large population of patients here on the reservation, the infamous waiting list. And the idea was to build a 3rd tribal community clinic in the Pablo area. Also, I'm presently the director of the dental department at the college. We have our dental assisting training program. And so what we've done is we've blended that 4-chair clinic, utilizing chairs and some of the materials from the dental assisting training program, along with a grant from the council, to build a beautiful 4-chair dental clinic. And we've got another dentist, Dr. Burnett, who works there full time. and 3 dental assistants. And so we've been able to provide a lot of services, and we've been drawing those patients off the St. Ignatius waiting list who live in the Ronan-Pablo area. That's taken a lot of pressure off of St. Ignatius. It's given us a patient base to start working from. And so we're very, very excited. In fact, we were just crunching some numbers just a few weeks ago, and our production already this first quarter of the year was up 30% over last year. So our efficiency is improving, which translates into more services, getting more of our patients in a more timely fashion.
Okay. Now, I've had the opportunity to sit in your chair, and I know that there is an emergency time when people who are having an emergency with their mouth can come in, which is right at the very beginning of work. What about when people don't show? Is there sort of a second list of people that you call and try to feel? What's that called, and how does that work for people who might not know about that?
That's our short-term list, and what we've done, we've adopted a policy of trying to keep our chairs full all the time. That makes us happy when we're busy, and it makes, once again, our consumer base happy, hopefully. But what we've done is developed this list, and as people come in who may not be on our long-term list, but are seeking, short-term needs, but can respond if we get a cancellation or a broken appointment, say within 5 or 10 minutes, can be at the clinic. That way we don't lose that, maybe it's an hour appointment. We can go ahead and fill that. Also, what we've been doing is kind of double booking. We'll have an examination tied in with a standard, maybe we're going to do some fillings or something like that, and maybe that operative patient doesn't show up. We can also convert that exam patient. They might have some needs and take care of some work too. But the short-term list has been working out really well.
So we're becoming better stewards of our time, which is going to affect the list, and when they affect the list, the people aren't complaining as much. When they don't complain as much, everybody's happier. All right. Well, Gary, I'm going to get a little controversy with you now. We sort of hit some of the highlights of the dental program, and I know that you came to us from the Indian Health Service out of Billings. You're the hippy-dippy director, health promotion, disease prevention director. You came into our system as highly touted as an individual, as administrator, and you took over the dental program. What's going on in the changes in tribal health recently? I mean, I hear lots of rumors, and a lot of people are sitting out there wondering what's happening. And I see a lot of positives because I work, with you and around you and those people. But can you sort of address that just a little bit to start with?
Sure, I can highlight some of those aspects. We're very fortunate. Obviously, we're in a very difficult time right now. We have no director. Joe Dupuy has graciously moved into that position.
Reluctantly. That's why he's not here today.
And 3 division heads are vacant. So that left us really in a real difficult situation. Joe obviously came forward and first thing stated, explained kind of his philosophy of how he works, and that's been working very well. He's working by consensus and total involvement. Opened up some of the initial meetings to anybody that was interested. And what we did the first 2 weeks, and that first day, he queried various departments and staff members to see if they would be willing to come forward and help. And it's all kind of a participative process. So a number of people did, and I was one of those that felt compelled to lend my assistance. And laid out some of the most critical issues that we felt that needed to be dealt with as quickly as possible to remediate as much of the concern that was existing not only in the staff but in our community, and just as importantly, in the provider hospital ranks, because prior to Marge's leaving us, we were in the midst of some very heavy negotiations with hospitals in Kalispell, Polson, Ronan, St. Pat's in Missoula, and Community Hospital. So it was deemed by the group that that was probably the most critical thing. However, Joe did go around to each program director and basically asked, do you have some critical issues? And from that discussion, we kind of prioritized some of those issues, and so that became a real central focus. And I'm glad and happy to be able to say that last Friday we met with the last hospital administrator, conveying, what we're trying to do, the continuance of the program, that the bills will be paid, that the negotiations that had taken place prior, to this situation would be honored, and that there was an administration dealing with those issues, and it was the tribe's desire to meet those needs. We also met with a couple of different physician organizations as well. And so it was a real learning process for many of us. But in the same token, I think that for the most part, all of those hospital administrators and physician groups feel fairly comfortable that we're moving forward, and that's our intention, to get the best care at the most reasonable price that we can. And also, it was very exciting to see all these various institutions' interest and willingness, which I've been working with Flathead for a number of years and have been involved in different advisory capacities and meetings. And this was the first time I've seen some real interest in working with us. And so I'm looking forward to an exciting future. I think that from those negotiations, we're going to be able to put together a much more responsive healthcare system that not only meets the needs of our consumer, our patients, our tribal members, but also is interactive with our existing, our community-based tribal health system. In fact, that was something that we worked on just this morning, taking a look at some of those issues. Where are we as a healthcare delivery system? And what truly is our mission, and how do we get there?
So prevention is starting to become part of your model now.
Yeah, it's been underscored, prevention and a real community focus. That it has to be a collaborative effort, that it's not any particular entity or individual's total responsibility, but it's got to be a working relationship. We have to work together. It means getting community members involved, elders involved, as gatekeepers, conveying information about friends and family who may be having problems, so that we can intervene and assist and facilitate them receiving the best care possible. Not to be gatekeepers, but to work with our community.
So when this model gets set up, I guess, then we'll be going out and putting it into actual work, right? In the community. How soon can people be, I guess that's what people keep asking me is, are we going to get stuck in this mode of, administration, or is it going to start going out? Are we going to see an effect in our care?
I would say that based on just the discussion this morning, and we're planning on meeting again next Wednesday to continue discussion on a model that Paul Coates had introduced in our discussion this morning, of probably, I would say by the end of the summer. It's a situation where a lot of those pieces already are in place. it's what evolved from the discussion this morning was more of redefining that and the roles and the responsibilities and who and how do we work together and who do we work with.
How do we make it effective?
And how do we make that effective? You know, how are we doing? You know, are we internally working together and meeting our community's needs? And in turn, is our community involved in their healthcare system? The community has just as much of a responsibility to be a partner in that process, and we've become somewhat passive. You know, it just systems evolve,
right?
And sometimes you find yourself in a situation where maybe you need to just stop the merry-go-round and redirect it. And this is an opportunity to do that. So we're trying to take a difficult situation and move it into an opportunity and to move forward.
You know, Gary, you've always been sort of a visionary. I can remember you as an older brother making the rest of us clean the house for Mom. And, you know, when you went to work for IHS, you were a visionary there. I mean, when you became the hippy-dippy director, you were looking at ways of preventing things and realizing that if we treat disease after it's there, it's very cost ineffective. And what's your gut call? I mean, when you sit back and you start to see prevention happening on our reservation, we're not going to focus on the rest of Indian country right now. We're going to look on this reservation. What's our future with health? From your standpoint, from all of your experience from the past. This has nothing to do with where you're at right now.
When I look at, I'll be approaching 20 years now.
Not your age.
Ooh, yeah.
No, that's not his age.
I'm really excited. I see some really, really powerful things happening on our reservation, positive things. I've seen just in the dental office, it excites me to see Head Start students that don't have any cavities. I would say up to 30 to 40% of our Head Start students don't have any decay. And very rarely do I see baby bottle tooth decay. Now, this is just the oral cavity, but it really can translate into a lot of other areas and reflects kind of social norms. It tells me that there's an understanding in our community and our parents about baby bottle tooth decay, purely and simply, the do's and the don'ts. Okay, but beyond that, what's more important is that there's an understanding of parental involvement, and that makes me proud. I remember growing up and going to the powwow at Arlee, and because I remember the old beer garden. Yeah, because I got hit in the head with a beer can one time when I was about 9 years old, walking past it.
So that explains why you're...
That's right, and that's when it happened.
Okay.
And today you can't get within 2 miles of that place with alcohol or drugs. Those are changes in social norms, and that's what prevention is about. That's what community capacity building is. And there have been a number of efforts that have been very successful on this reservation. And so it's not like we have to start from square one. Irene Lake's NetLink is a new concept, a new program to try and provide services and systems so that our people, our community, our health consumer can find out information easier. You know, that you don't have to go through 10 people to figure out where you need to go for certain services. Some of our tobacco initiatives that we're working on. I'm working on a committee with Penny Kipp, and we're developing some programs to continue to address high-risk health behaviors, which in turn we're going to give us not only a healthier consumer, it's going to allow us to expend those dollars that we do have that don't meet all of our needs. It's going to allow us to stretch those dollars. The healthier we are, the more of those high-cost cases that may not be preventable. I mean, because things do happen to people.
Right.
We can address those. And I know the surgery list, for instance, the elective surgery list is a real controversial concern. And it's disheartening when you can't provide all of the care that you would like to everyone. But if it's a community effort and we work diligently together to become as healthy as we can, then we can use our dollars more wisely and more effectively. Right now, you've got situations, we've got pockets where small groups of people are consuming large numbers of dollars, and some of those people are in a situation where they could prevent some of those health problems. That allows other people to that may not be in that situation to prevent those problems greater access to care.
Well, I was just in Browning the last 2 days, and that was something I brought up to them, as becoming stewards of their own financial dollars within their tribal health. Because there is only a set amount of money, right?
Yep.
That we that we can take our chunk from. And if you got those pockets that are like cavities, and cavities, sometimes they appear on the surface not to be too large, but they take a huge chunk out. Where do you think that the prevention is going to lead? I mean, are people truly getting sold out to prevention on this reservation as you see it, coming back home from being away from it for a while compared to other places? Are we doing a good job of that?
Yeah, I think in general we're probably 10 miles down the road. When I look at the facilities that we have, the resources that are being moved in that direction, it's very, very exciting to see those opportunities. But it's that age-old issue where you can't, just because you develop a good program, just because this year you heighten the awareness, doesn't mean that you've done your job. Prevention is an everyday situation, proposition, and that's the difficult part about it. You have to constantly look at what we call multiple modalities, different approaches to addressing common issues. Tobacco, for instance. We have to be consistent in our message as providers in tribal health, regardless of where you enter our program, whether it's at the dental clinic or social work, at the pharmacy, administration. We all need to be saying, hey, this is creating problems. We're consuming a lot of our limited resources on a health risk problem. And we need to do something. We as a community need to do something about it. It needs to be vested in the school systems, and we've got programs that are doing that, and coordinating with different agencies. There are state funds available, and we're working on a grant in that direction. Lake County Health Department, a lot of different resources. So bringing those pieces together. And I see those things happening here. And I think we just need to continue to support that, maybe bring a little more direction, a little more formality to some of those pieces, and evaluating the efficacy of those efforts. Are we on track? Sometimes you have to do what we call process things to meet your ultimate long-term objective. You have to do so many health fairs, you have to do so many screenings, you have to do so many education types of things before you see some change 3 or 4 years down the road. But it's no different than the beer garden.
Right.
That didn't happen overnight. That took time, that took a commitment of the community. And so it's very
tribal
exciting.
health is actually, we're like farmers. We're out sowing the seeds, we're watering the seeds, and we're just waiting for those seeds to start to germinate and start to spring forth with good fruit.
That's right.
What do you see yourself in the dental program? I mean, is that going to continue are you going to continue to cut into the waiting list? Are you continuing to grow and touch other areas of prevention? When do you feel like you're successful?
That's an interesting question, because there are short-term successes and long-term successes. When I look at the comprehensive nature of care that we provide, I'm really excited. We've got a really good program. One of the things that we talked about today, however, I think that we're going to be focusing a little bit more on is more public health. dentistry. And not that we aren't doing some good things, but I think as a staff, but I think we need to bring in our community members into some of those discussions. You know, what are their interests, perceptions, or reality? Take a look at some of those issues, because I know, for instance, the waiting list is a big issue, even though we're really knocking that down. I'm very excited about that. But in the same token, if we work together with health education, with the fitness centers, with the public health nurses, you know, we can get the swish and spit fluoride mouth rinse programs. They're still going in some programs. Some need to be beefed up. So just once again, stopping the merry-go-round, taking a look at where are we, what direction does the community want to go? It's our tribe's program. It's not my program.
Right.
So hopefully I can be true to my word in that it's going to be a collaborative process.
Well, in other words, if we get rid of cavities, the waiting list is going to get smaller.
That's right.
That's what prevention is about, you know. And you know, I've watched you my whole life. You know, obviously, you're my big brother, and you know, I've watched your walk. I've watched your concern, caring for people, coming back, and that you came back hoping to be part of the formula to helping our reservation have healthier people. And I see you getting pulled into some areas maybe that you're not so excited about being pulled into as fast. But you know, I want to thank you for the job that you're doing and your willingness to serve the people.
Thank you.
How do you see us as a tribe in health in the year 2000? We got about a minute left, so we got to cut it quick. So, do you see us as a healthier nation?
Most definitely. I see us already. The wheels are turning. Not as fast as some of us would like. Others, it's like it's not moving. You know, others, it's too fast. Change is a real difficult thing for a lot of people. But Flathead has always been progressive. Flathead has always been willing to take that step forward to try a new approach, and we can, as a tribe, can come to consensus much quicker than many of the tribes that I've worked with. With that capacity, with the leadership that we have, the sky is the limit.
So
we have so many committed, capable, competent people in tribal health that, given that opportunity to be creative and move forward and once again work collaboratively with the community involvement, I'm very optimistic that we'll see a much happier, healthier community.
Cool. Gary, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to ask you one question. I mean, I've sat here through the whole program. I looked at your eyes. They still don't do anything for me, as all the women on the reservation say that they do. Well, people, thank you for being here, watching our program today, and we'll see you next week. Thank you much. Goodbye.
Good Medicine is your program. We hope you watch this and subsequent programs to stay informed about your health care. And we'd like to hear from you about how we're doing. Please direct any comments or suggestions you have to us. You can reach us at